This is part 3 of chapter 2. I've literally just uploaded the other one, so, you know. Thanks, wow. I can't believe how much I needed to hear someone say that, I admitted and smiled bashfully. He smiled back, then he pulled me to a stop with a hand on my arm, pushed my hair back once more to inspect my head. I looked up to his face, refusing to look away no matter how much my cheeks wanted to flush. I refused to be swooning. He looked back down at me, his hand still in my hair. I felt butterflies attacking my gut. He cocked his head to the side a little and seemed to inspect my reaction. I licked my lips nervously. His eyes flashed and he immediately looked away and dropped his hands. It looks better. I think you'll be fine. Hey Carl, look who I found. I turned to see Carl standing behind us. An irritated gaze latched on to his cousin. I can see that. Do you two know each other? No, but your friend here saved my life. He looked back down at me and smiled. He looked back up to Carl's incredulous look. Seriously? I almost got hit by a truck. She pulled me out of the way. I'd be standing here dead if not for her. Carl looked at me with a new admiration. Really, you did that? Yeah, it was nothing. I waved off their flattery. Mags, I can't believe you. Carl came and grabbed me in a hug that lifted my feet off the ground. I could tell he was only doing it because of what he saw between his cousin and me. His cousin could too, from the way he rolled his eyes and crossed his arms over his chest. Come inside. Wait until I tell Aunt Rachel what you did. No, please don't take me in there. I'm not really in the mood for a crowd. Okay, he said reluctantly. I was just about to text you anyway. Sorry, the party ran a little late. We were waiting for a certain someone, he looked pointedly over his shoulder, to come back so we could eat, but now I see he was preoccupied. Well, late's better than dead, right? I spouted and then winced. Carl raised an eyebrow at me, but his cousin burst out laughing from behind him. She got you there, cuz. He slapped him on the back, and I'm glad to see you're so worried about me. Whatever. Are you ready? Carl asked me, and I wasn't. Sorry. I also wasn't ready to leave the stranger I saved, but saw no way to invite him to go with us when I could see there was clearly tension between them. I looked at him, and he was looking at me. I could tell he didn't want me to go either, and it made the butterflies worse. Yeah, sure, I muttered. Okay, I've already got the keys, let's get going. Hold on. I walked up to his cousin a few feet away. I looked up into his face, at least half a foot taller than mine, probably more. I'm really glad I was there. Me too, thank you. If you ever need anything, a new pair of rollerblades, a popsicle, a kidney, it's yours. I laughed and tucked my hair behind my ear as he chuckled too, and shuffled his feet. Okay, I'm Maggie, by the way. I stuck my hand out towards him and smiled. Maggie, he repeated, and I bit my lip at the sound of my name on his lips. Caleb. He shook my hand, and I felt an instant jolt go through my body that made me gasp. Not like a girly, wow, he's touching me jolt. I mean, an actual joke. Jolt. Sorry. Like it felt as if fire was racing through my veins, and I was standing in the water with a blow dryer. My breath ceased to exist, and my blood felt cold in my hot skin. My eyes fluttered automatically at the pain of it. I saw images, flashes of things. Me on a porch with 10 arms going around me from behind, and a brown-haired boy sitting atop me, leaning down, kissing my neck. Then the image vanished, and a new one appeared. Me running, someone chasing me, but I wasn't scared. I was laughing. I looked back, and a brown-haired boy was hot on my trail, grabbing me and throwing me over his shoulder as I squealed in delight. Behind them was a house with a for sale sign, but sold stamped over it. A moving truck parked beside them. Then a man and a woman took a walk through a lot of sand. The man pricked his finger on a cactus as he swung his arms. I kissed his finger and then pulled him back to the house, through the bay doors into the bedroom. He pushed me to the bed and followed me, kissing me senseless, as he rolled around in the white sheets. Then I saw me, right now, holding the hand of a tan, dark-haired boy. The look of pleasure and confused delight on my face was also on his. His eyes opened and he smiled at me like he understood everything, like I was everything. I was sure back to the present when my eyes saw what was actually in front of me. Not a strange vision of happy times. I was still looking at Caleb's face. He was still looking at me, but just like in the vision, he was smiling ecstatically. "It's you," he whispered in wonder. "You're the one." "What's going on?" I heard Kyle behind me, but I couldn't look away from the blue eyes looking at me with such want. Kyle came closer to me, releasing my hand and framing my face with his hands. No, releasing my face. I don't know. Sorry. Caleb came closer to me, releasing my hand and framing my face with his hands, and I felt a flood of calm and warmth. "Breathe, Maggie." I hadn't realised I was holding a breath. I took a deep breath and felt the air rush in and out frantically as I blinked. My head cleared a little and he smiled. "Everything's going to be okay, alright? Just don't be upset. You don't have to be scared." "What are you doing?" Carl asked as he pushed Caleb's hands away. The second he did that, I felt a cold and utterly desperate and heard myself gasp. "Dude, not cool. Look, I understand that she saved you and you feel whatever, but I told you about this girl. You can't just—" "She's the one, Kyle," Caleb interrupted, never taking his eyes from mine. It felt like an eternity had passed since he'd first taken my hand, and I was still tingling in my veins from whatever had taken place. "It's her." "What?" Kyle said loudly, almost angrily. "She can't be. I mean, you've just met." He sighed harshly and ran his hands through his hair. "You've got to be friggin' kidding me." "What's going on?" I asked softly, and finally pulled my eyes from Caleb to look between the two. Kyle looked pissed and angry. Caleb looked in and blissed out. He stepped closer to me, but didn't touch me this time. "Maggie, we have a lot to talk about." "Not tonight, Caleb," Kyle said, coming to stand between us. "She has no idea what you're talking about. You're just going to scare her." "I'm not going to scare her. She knows me inside and out." "She knows me just like I do her, Kyle. It's exactly like they always described it. I can feel her heart beating." Kyle cursed and shook his head. "This is bull. I can't believe you did this. You knew how I felt, and you still do this. You know that's not how it works. We don't get to choose." "I'm sorry, Kyle, I am. Well, a fat load of good that does me." "Okay," I stopped them both. "Please tell me what's going on." I felt a little lightheaded and blinked to clear my vision. Caleb came around Kyle to grab my upper arms gently. "Maggie, everything's fine. Just wait. It's new. I'll calm down some." "It'll calm down some. Just breathe." I felt something strange. It felt like an invader, a welcomed invader, like something was pushing its way into my thoughts, or my body somehow. I felt him. I gasped and looked up at him. He smiled, realising what I felt. "I can feel your heart beating. I can feel your happiness," I admitted, and had no idea how I knew these things. I just did. I brought one of my hands to my heart to feel it under my fingers. I could feel each beat of his heart as if it was my own. I felt his concern over me. He was worried that I was going to run when he told me everything. He felt an intense sense of longing and protection for me, but more than anything, I felt a sort of joy at what was happening between us, whatever that was. "See," he continued to explain to his cousin, but his eyes stayed on me, and as did his hands. "She can feel me already." He laughed and a breathy chuckle, and his next words were barely whispered. "Wow, I can't believe this." "You're too young," Kyle countered. "And she's only 17. You're both too young." "Tell that to my imprint." "You know what? No." Kyle once again came and got in between us, and as soon as Caleb's hand released me, his heartbeat went with him. I was beginning to get irked with Kyle, but wasn't sure why. "We have a date, and we're going on it." "You want to take my significant on a date?" Caleb asked, and cocked an eyebrow at his cousin. I couldn't speak. I just stood there and let them fight. "Yes, exactly. She's your significant, and she still will be when we get back, won't she?" "We have to talk about this, Kyle. We have to tell the family." "I know. We've been waiting for this all year. I think you can spare her one night, since you apparently be spending the rest of your life with her," he said snidely. "Kyle, don't be like this." I finally found my voice. Okay. I have no idea what's going on. I feel strange. I feel really strange. Why are you both talking like I'm not standing right here? Maggie, I'm sorry. Kyle turned to look at me. I never wanted you to get mixed up in all this. I never would have thought this could happen. And I'm going to end it there, and I'll upload the next one very shortly.